And you are familiar with Farren Hall and Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan?
Yes, I am.
You've dealt with them multiple times, I'm assuming, at this point?
Yep, we've spoken many times.
You were involved with the building of this new parking lot we've been discussing, is that correct? And when I say involved, what was your involvement in the parking lot?
My involvement was the parking lot to be located outside the easement of Timber Run was approved by the Planning Commission. So my function was to just verify that it met all the requirements within the zoning ordinance. It met all the parking spaces, ADA compliant, distances from property line and easement. So it was just my job to verify that it met the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Did Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan have a deadline to finish the parking lot?
They were on their special land use permit. It was proposed that they were given a grace period to finish the project, but I believe it was denied at that time. So their deadline was immediately following their amended special land use permit, as far as I'm aware. The township, however, chose to not pursue that, to my understanding, to give them time through the winter months and to make reasonable accommodations to give them the a reasonable amount of time to get the parking lot installed, is my understanding of it.
And do you have an understanding of when that deadline was from the time? Let me finish the question. So when that deadline was from the township's perspective as to finishing the parking lot?
I believe it was unofficially May 1st was what we had talked about. And I think that's the timeline I projected to Farren Hall. And then on May 1st, there was still some loose ends that need to be tidied up. So I think we gave them an additional 15 days. I think it was May 15th was the new deadline to try and, but again, that was an unofficial deadline because there really wasn't anything in writing. That was just us working with them verbally, trying to communicate with them. Here's some more time to finish it up, but we really got to get this wrapped up by this deadline, or we have to start pursuing enforcement. So,
and when you're talking May 1st and May 15th, you're talking this year,
correct?
2025,
correct.
Can I approach the witness?
Certainly.
Showing the witness exhibits 6 through 'Plaintiff's exhibits 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8, which are the photos the plaintiff has entered. Go ahead and finish flipping through them. As zoning administrator, are you familiar with the easement we've been talking about, the easement for Timber Run Trail?
Yes.
Do you know, has that easement recently been staked and surveyed?
It has, yes, by most drums.
And have you seen the survey for that easement?
I have, and the stakes as well.
So you've been out on the property?
Yes.
And saw the survey irons that are put in by the survey?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the boundaries of that easement?
Correct.
How wide is that easement?
My knowledge is 66 feet across total.
And in reviewing those photos, the vehicles parked and shown in those photos. Can you testify as to whether, to your knowledge, those are within that easement or outside that easement?
I believe they are within the easement. If memory serves correctly, the fence is 2 feet outside of the easement where these vehicles are parked in front of the black building. So if they were within, outside that, they're well within the easement.
When you say it's 66 feet across, what do you mean?
The entire width of the easement, I believe, is 66 from one side to the other.
So it includes the road?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, the driving portion of the road hugs the north side of that easement, if I'm not mistaken, sir.
All right. So how wide is the road?
Is Your Honor asking how wide is the traveled portion of the road?
Yes.
I have not measured that. I would estimate it somewhere around 20 to 24 feet in that area. I have not actually measured that to see. I think it might be on the survey, though. I think it was delineated on there, if I'm not mistaken.
So the road hugs the north side of the easement?
That is how I remember it, yes.
So the easement's wider on one side of the road than it is on the other?
Yes, and that's common, Your Honor, for the easements to either start out in the middle and then wander one way or the other, or vice versa. They're not always directly in the center. And unfortunately with zoning, I run into this issue a lot. Some people are basically at a disadvantage.
All right. So we have a survey that I guess will help answer this question. So it's your understanding that the fence is 2 feet into the easement and anything between the fence and the edge of the road is within the easement?
So it's 2 feet outside the easement, Your Honor.
All right. So the fence is not within the easement.
Correct.
So 2 feet from the fence to the edge of the road is the easement
Yes,
on this side?
correct.
And I believe, and I know it's hard to see, but that's what was submitted to the township, that size of the survey. But for clarification, I believe the survey that has been admitted as an exhibit shows most of that split rail fence being outside the easement, with some of it being within the easement because it does jog. So that's all shown on that survey.
And as we discussed, it's hard to see it, but all right. He's okay. At least on that side of the road. Okay, thanks.
That's all I have for this witness.
Ms. Strong?
Thank you. Mr. Klein, can you remind me, how long have you worked for Safe Build?
Just over 6 years now.
And during that time, how long of that was spent in affiliation with the township?
The whole 6 years.
So it's fair to say that Safe Build is an agent of the township.
Yes.
And do you attend all of the town hall meetings?
No, I do not.
Do you attend most of them or some of them?
I attend when requested.
Okay. And who makes that request?
Usually the township supervisor or someone from the township.
And so were you working for Safe Build back when my clients bought the property?
No, I was
No.
not.
At what point did you start working for Safe Build? What year?
It was 2019.
So you were employed by Safe Build when they proposed to build that black barn, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember the plans for that black barn being submitted?
Yes, there were some plans submitted for it, yes.
And did you, as your job with Safe Build, you approved those plans, correct?
I'm going to object on relevancy, Your Honor.
Your Honor, they're relevant to the parking and whether or not the parking was ever delineated to be within the easement.
I guess we'll find out. The black barn is inside the fence on this side, right where these cars are parking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, I'll allow it and we'll see where we're going.
If I could just follow up and put something on the record here. I believe where Ms. Strong is headed is an argument that they're somehow allowed to be allowed to park, or their guests and anybody attending functions there are allowed to park within the easement. That has been something that has been before and between these defendants and the township, and was resolved with the special land use permit that was approved by the township and approved by the defendants.
All right, well, we'll see where the township doesn't own the easement.
That's correct.
It's owned by the private owners on Timber Trail. But obviously, your point is this was discussed at the time the black building was constructed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's see where this goes.
And when the black
And
building,
the special use permit is in the pleadings. It's not yet in as an exhibit, but we'll get to that.
when the black barn plan was submitted, did it show delineated specific parking within the easement?
I don't recall without having it in front of me exactly what was delineated on there.
Your Honor, if I may, proposed exhibit B for the defense shows the site plan that was approved by Safe Bill. And I believe this has been furnished to Mr. Thornton in the past. If you could hand that to Your Honor once you refresh your memory.
Your Honor, if I could have just a running objection to all these questions.
All right, thank you.
Based on relevance.
Again, these are very small. This is, let's mark this as defendant's exhibit B.
And that exhibit shows parking along the backside of the black barn, correct?
That is correct.
And
Stop. Well, let me catch up. Mr. Klein, is this your document?
I'm not sure, Your Honor, where that came from. It could have been one of our documents that was scanned and uploaded or sent over to them.
All right, so the site plan, and subject to Mr. Thorne's objection, envisioned parking in this area?
Correct. At one time it did.
All right, and
It was presented that way at one time, yes, Your Honor.
all right. All right, any subject to Mr. Thorne's objection, exhibit B is admitted.
Can I take a look at it, Your Honor?
Yes. It's hard to see it. Thank you. All right, he's going to argue that it was supplanted by later agreements, but let's see where we go with this.
And going back to the new parking lot that was created, you said that at the original meeting, any kind of extension or grace period was specifically denied, correct?
That's my understanding. That was what was written in the amended.
And how did you find out that there was leniency or a grace period?
It was discussed when I think when there was complaints starting to roll in about the parking within the easement. And I think it was that time it was kind of gauged or discussed, what's reasonable to allow for time for them to move forward with the new parking lot.
And the parking lot was put in, it was hired, it was a hired job, right?
To my understanding, yes.
Okay. And you've been in communication with my clients regarding the updates and the status of the parking lot.
Correct.
Have they been in good communication?
Yeah.
They've kept you pretty updated?
Yes, they have been fairly reliable on communication.
Do you visit the property often?
Just when I have an inspection.
And when you visit the property, where do you park?
I park where I always park when I have an inspection, and that's usually within the easement, whether it's a private or public road. If it's something out in that area I'm investigating, I park within the right of way to do so.
When you visit Farren Hall, where do you park?
Depends on what I'm there for. I sometimes park up by the house. If it's something related to a fence or something out by the easement, I park out there.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
And I would place an objection on the record to the site plan, Your Honor, because there has been many site plans over the last few years on this project. And so my objection would be the lack of foundation, as I do not, and having reviewed that, I'm not sure which site plan that is.
Well, it is a site plan, and he acknowledged that it did encompass this. And again, maybe it was superseded by something else. We've also got the agreement. But initially, they're going forward in good faith, believing, spending considerable expenditure to build this building, that there would be parking in that spot. So we'll see where we go with that. All right. No further questions of this. Do you have any further questions for Mr. Klein?
I do, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm handing the witness what's been marked Defendant's Exhibit B. Mr. Klein, does that site plan show the location of the easement?
Not that I can see from this vantage point, no.
Can you tell whether the parking places along Timber Run Trail, is Timber Run Trail designated on there?
It is, yes.
Okay. Can you tell from that site plan where that 66-foot easement
Not
is?
at all, no.
Can you tell whether those parking places shown on that site plan are within the easement or outside the easement?
Not definitively, no.
That's all I have.
Nothing further from this witness. No.
Thank you. All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Oh, Your Honor, before we release this witness, as Your Honor pointed out, the permit for special land use has not been admitted.
Yes.
I can, if the court will allow, or if Ms. Strong has an objection to it, I can.
I would stipulate to that admission.
So I would move for that.
All right, that would be Exhibit 9. All right. Special use land permit. Admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then, in that case, I do not have any more questions for Mr. Klein.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I would call Mr. James Gray as the next witness.
All right, let's talk about that. You object to that?
I significantly object to that. This is the township represented by an attorney pursuing a violation against my clients that has significant ripple effects. We heard testimony that there's going to be private and appropriate litigation against my clients in regards to this easement. And I can't allow my clients to be put in a position where they would testify and further injure their position when this is no, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's take a look at section 26(4), violation and penalty. Any owner, agent, or any person who shall violate any of the provisions of this ordinance or fail to comply with any of the requirements thereof shall be subject to payment of a civil fine of not less than $50, not more than $500 plus cost per day for each infraction. The anyone who assists shall be subject to fines, costs, and sanctions specified. So these are civil infractions. They're not punishable by a criminal penalty. And so if this were a speeding ticket and he were facing a criminal charge, let's say someone was injured as a result of the speeding, and speeding, as we all know, is a civil infraction punishable by a fine only. I don't think he would be immune from being called to testify in a civil infraction case. However, let's say that someone died and there could potentially be a criminal charge of a vehicular homicide type of matter. Certainly, any competent lawyer would object to their client being called to testify in such a case. But I don't see something like that. I don't see a criminal penalty here. I suppose if they fail to comply with this, there could be a criminal contempt. But I think it's a civil matter. It's a civil infraction like a speeding ticket. So I believe he's entitled to call the defendant as a witness. Ms. Strong, if you wish to appeal that, we can stop. But it's my ruling that even though you strongly object, and there may be other civil matters, that doesn't prohibit him from testifying. For example, he could be subpoenaed for a deposition and deposed and questioned under oath in such a civil case. So if you have some authority that tells me I can prohibit it, I consider it. But
and Your Honor, I would accept that, but I would just put a standing objection on the record to both clients' testimony for its use in other proceedings.
All right. We're going to plow through here. I'm going to miss my lunch meeting, and we're probably going to go into the afternoon. I have criminal pretrials starting at 2 o'clock. I knew this was going to happen.
I believe that the one last pretrial for Mr. Valentine shouldn't take very long. Did you get an email?
I did. There's several others, but well, one was dismissed. All right. So anyway, we're going to just plow ahead. Probably we would take a break, but I appreciate everybody's indulgence. All right. Who do you wish to call?
Mr. James Gray, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray, would you come forward? You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. Please have a seat and state your name.
James Gray, Jamesgray.
Mr. Gray, you are one of the owners of Farren Hall, is that correct?
Yes.
And that is the property commonly known as 58522 Farren Hall or Farren Road, Colon, Michigan, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Gray, are you aware of a subpoena that I provided to your counsel back on August 1st that requested you bring any and all documents showing number of persons, including guests and employees on grounds of Farren Hall on 5/25 of 2025?
Yes.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
Did you bring any documents today in response to that subpoena?
There are no documents.
So it's your testimony that you do not have any documents showing the number of persons, including guests and employees on the grounds of Farren Hall on 5/25/2020.
Correct.
You wouldn't have any employment.
Let me stop you for a minute.
Asked and answered.
The question here is relevance. Her objection is that you're subpoenaing them for something other than this parking issue. There are some other things in that agreement about a number of employees that'll be present and it was so limiting. But how is this relevant to whether or not these cars were parked in the easement on that particular day?
I believe what the relevancy is, Your Honor, and I believe what so far the testimony has shown is that the parking lot that Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan installed was full on that day. So it's relevant in that why cars were parked out there in the easement.
Why? I don't need to know why. I've already heard from testimony that the parking lot was full. The question is, were they there or not? The building inspector parks there when he comes to look at the property. There's a why. But the obviously why is they park here because they don't have enough parking inside the property itself. But that, all right, I'll accept that, but I don't need to know how many employees were there, how many guests were there. That goes to some other litigation I think that she's concerned about in the future. So that goes into the special use permit that limits the number of staff, and I wasn't clear on why that is all there, but there's a lot of history to this. But yeah, I don't need to know how many guests were there that day. The testimony was the parking lot was full and at least 2 or 3 cars were parked in the easement. But I'll let you question further.
So the question was, would you have an employment record showing how many employees you have?
Your Honor, objection. as
Why do you need
relevant.
to know that? I sustain the objection. Why do you need to know how many employees were there?
I didn't understand that you sustained the objection.
Well, she just objected and then I sustained it.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Gray, did you have the Mostrom and Associates survey the easement known as Timber Run Trail?
We did.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was done in conjunction with the plans for the new parking lot.
So this year.
There was a previous survey done that wasn't a full survey of that, but a partial survey of that. I don't remember the date on that as well.
Was the last time it was surveyed this year?
I believe so, yes.
And are you familiar with the boundaries of that easement?
The survey was done, yes.
So you've walked the property, you've looked at where Mr. Mostrom put or the employees of Mostrom Associates put the survey stakes?
Yes.
And showing the witness the series of photographs that have been admitted as plain as photographs 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. Do you look through those, please, Mr. Gray? Can you tell whether those vehicles are within the easement or outside the easement that are shown in those photographs?
They are within the easement.
And was there a wedding at Farren Hall on May 25th of this year?
Yes, there was.
Were those vehicles there in relation to that wedding?
That's hard to say. I don't know those vehicles. I don't know who they belong to.
All right, let's talk about that. This latest round in the ongoing zoning dispute over Farren Hall and the Timber Run Trail easement was a blend of technical site plan talk, long-running neighbor tension, and a few moments of dry humor, courtesy of Judge Middleton. The township's zoning administrator took the stand first, laying out the timeline for when the parking lot was supposed to be completed, May 1st, unofficially, May 15th, officially, on noting that winter conditions gave the property owners some informal leeway. He confirmed the easement is 66 feet wide, with survey stakes marking the boundaries, and that the fence line is generally outside of it. The twist here was that he admitted even he occasionally parks in the easement when inspecting the site, which the defense was quick to highlight. Defense counsel Casey Strong's strategy was clear. Focus on older site plans that may have allowed parking, where the township now says it's forbidden, and press the point that the township initially allowed some grace time before enforcing the permit conditions. Then James Gray, one of the owners, took the stand and candidly acknowledged seeing the stakes and knowing where the easement runs. He admitted vehicles in the photos submitted by neighbors were in that easement during a May 25th wedding, but couldn't say for certain who they belonged to. His demeanor stayed calm, straightforward, and polite, though you could tell he was navigating a fine line between acknowledging the facts and not conceding too much for any related civil cases. Judge Middleton made it clear that, because this was a civil infraction, case essentially a parking ticket with a more formal setting, the defendants could be called to testify even if there was separate litigation in play. Throughout, Middleton's tone was measured and patient, occasionally wry, keeping things from getting bogged down in personal grievances while allowing both attorneys to get their points on record. The atmosphere in the courtroom was attentive, but not tense nor raised voices, just a sense of two sides very familiar with each other's arguments from prior encounters. The township's case rested heavily on the photos and the clear language in the special use permit, while the defense chipped away at the context and consistency of enforcement. It was a reminder that in zoning disputes, the legal question is often straightforward, but the history between the parties can add layers of complexity. Middleton managed that balance well, ensuring the focus stayed on the relevant date and the conditions in place, not on relitigating years of neighbor friction. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.